No more XRP. Hi there, lovely individuals. Greetings, Peppacoin channel. Actually, I had a video planned and some things to say, but it appears that the market is booming just as I am getting started. All of a sudden, a significant volume entered the market and began to boost us here. At 3, XRP has returned. Dollars up 1%, Bitcoin is up 1.5% at 124,000. It may not seem like much, but this happened all of a sudden when I was preparing to film the video and keeping an eye on the markets. Thus, this is really intriguing. No news caught my attention. This is identical to the previous several minutes. Because I'm in a different time zone than usual, I'll be recording this a few hours ahead of schedule, a little earlier than I usually do. However, please leave a remark if you know why we've seen this pump here. Because I'll probably be at the beach, I guess. Correct? We're hearing that we're beginning to reach these higher levels, so it will be interesting to see whether we can see a possible breakout from XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. Will Ethereum reach its former all-time high again? Can we see? In fact, Bitcoin simply retreated after touching the previous all-time high. We'll see. It came very close and retreated somewhat. XRP returned to 3, correct? When I began getting ready for the video, it had dropped all the way to 296. Returning to the subject at hand, this may have been a bit of a squeeze. Let's just have a peek and refresh here. Indeed, as you can see, 50 million Bitcoin was recently liquidated, which is what caused a slight increase in price. However, it can be a slight recovery. Therefore, we must keep in mind that such moves may occur, where a short squeeze occurs and the market then begins to move in a particular direction. Therefore, keep this in mind at all times. Once more, if you are trading for a short time, day trading, or swing trading, there is always a chance that the market will wake up and start moving. Sunday has been a drowsy day. There may be a slight wake-up here on Sunday after a sleepy Saturday. Therefore, it will be fascinating to observe what transpires. As usual, I will never provide you financial advice or advise you to purchase, sell, or hold. Always conduct your own research before making an investment. I have no idea what the market will do on a daily basis, and because it's Monday tomorrow, I'll send out the weekly reminder. But once more, I'm just reminding you that the market is erratic and that we can have days like that, even if we haven't had any in a long time. That is to say, we have 20% movement to the upside and 20% movement to the downside the following day. Therefore, when investing in the cryptocurrency market, you should keep in mind that the riskier the asset, the more volatile it may be, both positively and negatively. All right. Therefore, keep that in mind. Additionally, keep in mind that I will never message you on social media to ask you to send me money or join up for anything. They are con artists. I don't own this page. My TikTok is not this. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, DMing you on Facebook or Telegram, or asking you any questions. I'm not the one. They are con artists. Be extremely cautious out there, please. All right. The way the market ends this week will be fascinating to see, isn't it? Sunday is a day of enjoyment. We'll see how the market closes this week, I guess. Does the weekly candle show a new all-time high? Does the weekly closure on the candles show a new all-time high? Or does it get rejected after a few touches and we might even sell off into this? This might be the sale. Some were expecting a sell-off, a slight pump, possibly a return to Bitcoin's all-time highs, followed by a sell-off down to perhaps the 100,000 range, and then a massive pump. Recall that a few days ago, we also discussed that theory. So this might be it. Therefore, before you invest in anything that is short-term, make sure you are aware of the dangers and rewards associated with the cryptocurrency market. After being a token in 2049, I have a whole different thesis in the long run. My long-term confidence in the cryptocurrency sector has grown even more. However, in the near term, a few days or hours, anything can occur. The market may change. There is market manipulation. While I was at Token 49, I heard some anecdotes about how people are being manipulated and how occasionally antics are being carried out to obtain commissions and other benefits from these exchanges. Since you're trading against the algorithms, you need to exercise extreme caution and ensure that you comprehend the short term. And without your own algorithm, It's frequently quite difficult to defeat an algorithm. This is something I've been observing. I saw this posted by several accounts. I'm not sure. Mike Alfred reports that he just had a 20-minute conversation with the man in charge of the most significant OTC desk. Unless the price reaches $126 to $129, there won't be any Bitcoin left to sell within 2 hours of tomorrow's futures opening. It's becoming crazy. As you can see, CoinBeer also tweeted that Bitcoin prices had dropped to their lowest point in 6 years. Before the bull run, this market began to squeeze supply, correct? As a result, we witnessed a shortage of liquidity during the bull run. Then we witnessed that happening. The fact that XRP has been extremely low on Coinbase, for instance, has been the subject of much discussion. The quantity of XRP on Coinbase was drastically decreased, and we discussed the potential outcomes of that. You must realize that we still have a significant amount of XRP in escrow. Therefore, there is still a sizable quantity of XRP that might be released into the market if you go and look at the circulating supply and the amount that is really out there. It requires time. Only takes place once a month, correct? The fresh values from the escrow are only released onto the market once a month. In that time span, we might have a chance, but if there are a lot of demands to buy XRP on exchanges, we might end up with no liquidity, much like with Bitcoin. However, keep in mind that, in contrast to XRP, which has somewhat higher value and a greater value that is produced each month, Bitcoin only has a relatively little quantity of Bitcoin that is mined every month. It goes without saying that Bitcoin is a constant, because XRP is a release from Ripple, and mining is ongoing as well. However, if we do observe something such to what occurred in November 2024, we might witness a short squeeze or liquidity pressure from XRP. Yes, if we observe a similar pattern in the link between XRP and Bitcoin, and if Bitcoin begins to experience liquidity problems, or a liquidity pump. Like a problem, I'm not sure if that's the correct word, unless you are short selling, in which case you would have a problem. However, a liquidity pump might occur, which would naturally support the other cryptocurrencies on the cryptocurrency market. Additionally, an XRP pump might also occur at that time. That's only a theory then. We are unsure if that will occur. It is imperative that we examine the fact that, there will always be enough assets to purchase on the exchanges, and we never experience the liquidity crisis that many discuss. I appreciate you watching. Next time, I hope to see you. Let's make a lot of money, as I usually say.